So today I want to talk about the best business book that I've ever read and the three principles that I learned from this book. The three major principles that I learned from this book. The book is extremely tactical and filled with practical advice, and it's from a self-made millionaire. So what he teaches, the lessons and principles he teaches in his book are from his experience, from real life. And also, he's a great teacher. He gives clear instruction on what to do. And the book is called Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson. So one of the first principles he teaches in the book is to do what is working. And what he advises is to not be original, to duplicate business models and businesses that actually work, that have been proven. And he's assuming that you want to make money the fastest. So he's teaching you how to make money the fastest way possible. And this is great advice, like when it comes from a money-making standpoint. Now, of course, you want to find a business that's in alignment with yourself. And some people need that. Some people need more meaning, more purpose when it comes to their work and their business. And some people don't. They don't need that. They just get the job done, make the money, and they're happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly okay. But the main principle is to duplicate what is already working in the market. And I think the reason he brings this up is because we will, as entrepreneurs, and inventors and creative people, will come up with things that people don't really need. We come up with things that there's no market for. And it's just too unique, and it's just too different, and it doesn't solve enough of a problem. It doesn't solve a strong enough pain point. And so what he's advising is to duplicate what works. And an example of this would be a franchise. So a franchise, we don't just need one Tim Hortons or one McDonald's. We can have multiples. And you see this in nature as well. Like, every tree is not unique. We see trees that are exactly the same, very similar in design. So in nature duplicates what works. And he's advising to do that in business as well. So that was kind of the first principle that I got from the book that I thought was pretty valuable. Start looking at what works and duplicate it. Another thing he said is that the quickest way to get making money is to sell a service. And it takes a little longer to sell a product. So if you're looking to make money fast, get out there and sell a service. Another principle that I got from the book, and I don't know if he says this explicitly. It's been over 10 years since I've read the book. But what I learned from this book is that all businesses are basically built from two components. The product or service, which is what is being sold. And I like to think of that sort of as the car or the Lamborghini. It's what's being sold. But you can't just have a product or service. You have to put fuel into the product or service. And that is where the sales and marketing comes in. So without the sales and marketing, without gasoline in the engine, it doesn't go anywhere. The business doesn't go anywhere. So after you've built your product, or as you're building your product, it needs to be marketed. You need to put fuel into the tank. And there are a lot of different ways to do this. Now, the third principle that I learned was straight out of the title, and he talks about it as well. It's called ready, fire, aim. So, and the point in this is you get ready and then you take action. You do something. And then after you've fired, after you've taken action, that is when you course correct. That is when you start to refine the target, refine the aim. After you fired the missile, not before. And I think he makes a great point that too many entrepreneurs will invest, and build a beautiful product, but there was no feedback from the market. So nothing had been tested, and someone might invest a lot of money in building something that nobody needs. And I learned a principle that's quite interesting from the SaaS community, the software as a service. And what they would do is, before they even develop their software, they would run ads to a landing page to see what the conversion rate looks like, to see if people sign up to learn more, to see if people are even interested in having such a thing. And then if they did get enough interest, they would contact these people and then they would use them to develop the product. They would get feedback from these people, offering them a discount because they'd be providing feedback. And that's how they would develop the product, not before. So they'd actually find the people, work on the problem with them, and then develop the solution. So doing the marketing first and then building the product might be a better strategy. That would be the ready, fire, and then aim process. So a lot of people, and when he talks about firing, it's about taking action, right? Do something. Put yourself out there. And I struggled with this after reading the book, Ready, Fire, Aim. I understood the process in theory that I needed to take action and then course correct. But in practice, it never happened. In practice, getting to the fire part, the action, is the most difficult part. So what holds us up? What stops us from taking action? Well, every moment in time, we make a split-second decision. We look at something and we decide whether to go this way or that way, right? We decide to go left or right. We decide to act or not act. And during every moment in time, we're doing a cost-benefit analysis. And during our cost-benefit analysis, we're weighing the pros and the cons. And what happens over time is, if we haven't programmed ourselves to take action, then we perceive more pros to not taking action, to inaction. We perceive more pros to not doing any marketing. We perceive more pros to tinkering on the product and never actually showing it to anyone. So in our minds, we can actually change our minds and how we perceive every action or inaction. And it's as simple as sitting down and doing something called lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is asking the question over and over again, what else? What else? What else? And this is a creativity technique that was created by Edward de Bono. And by doing lateral thinking, instead of going deep into a subject, we're going sideways. We're going laterally. And by asking what else, what else, what else, it's a form of brainstorming. And when you ask the question, what else, you begin to gain epiphanies. You begin to gain more awareness. you begin to see things that you hadn't seen before. So we may have 50 negatives in our minds to taking action, and we may have 2 benefits to taking action. So by writing these down on a piece of paper, split it in half. On one side will be the negatives, and the other side, start to list the positives to taking action. And don't stop asking, what else? What else are the benefits? What else are the positives? How else is this going to serve me? And keep digging, keep going. Find real benefits to you as a person. Find real benefits to your family. Find financial benefits, social benefits. Keep going, spiritual benefits. And keep digging. So if you get it to perfect balance, you know the negatives, you know the challenges, you know the failures, but now your awareness of the positives has gone up, and you'll be able to take action. If this is something really important to you, you'll be able to take action. And really, that's what this podcast is about. That's what my school community is about. It's about doing the mindset work so that we're able to get over those humps, get over that procrastination so we can actually take action. It's about getting over the fear that we have so we can actually take action. And I'm not talking about forcing ourselves to do things. I'm talking about making an internal shift where you no longer need to be motivated. You no longer need to be pressured to take action, but you become inspired from within to take action. And when we're inspired from within, that's when we really get into our flow. That's when we really start to have fun and things start to happen naturally. And when we do fail, when things don't work out the way we like them to work out, we're more resilient. We're more dedicated. And as long as the thing that you're working towards is important to you, you'll keep going. So if you're interested in that, then check out my community. It's on School. You can search my name, Doug Spence. And in the community, we do live coaching. I have some mindset courses, things to help you break limiting beliefs. And I take you through a lot of different exercises to help you expand what you're able to do without resistance, to help you take action without resistance. If you'd like to know what it's like to be coached, if you'd like to have those internal shifts so that you can take action, so that you can work out of inspiration and not have to force yourself to take action, then check out my community in School. Just search my name, Doug Spence. Talk to you later.